Welcome to Girls in Math, a Unique Blend. I am Raina, a 7th grader at Castellia School. Do you love math? Whether you do or don't, I created this videocast to inspire girls to enjoy math and learn to face stereotypes about math. Hello, welcome back. Today I will be talking about pi. No, not a pie, rather the number. You may have heard of pi before, starting with 3.14159, etc., or just 22 divided by 7 as a fraction. So maybe your school had those "who can recite the most digits of pi" contests, or you might have sort of heard about it in math class. But what does pi actually mean? At first, you might think it's just a number with a name, but there's actually a deeper meaning to this number. In today's video, I'm going to be explaining all about pi. So let's get right to it. Pi is the number's shorthand version for 3.14159, etc. What is it used for? Circles, mainly. Take a moment and think about all the circles you see every day. The wheel of a bus or car, your dinner plate, watches or clocks, coins, emojis, and more. You see quite a few every day without you even realizing it. But wait, this video was supposed to be about a number called pi, and now we're talking about geometry and circles? Well, it actually turns out that these two are interconnected. In order to really understand how this is, here is a picture of a circle. There is a special outer layer, the purple and pink encasing it, sort of like the perimeter of a circle, the circumference. In order to find the circumference, we must know the diameter. Here, a line is drawn from one end of the circle to the other, straight in the middle. The diameter is what this line is called, which is exactly drawn in the middle of a circle. In order to find the circumference, we follow this formula: pi times the diameter, or 3.14 times the diameter, or 22/7 times diameter. Here is a simple explanation for why we even brought in the pi in this formula. Here, this picture demonstrates how if we take the diameter, that is 16 squares, and lay it out on the circle, we would get 3 with the little left over, 0.14. You can try it out at home too, by taking a piece of string and cutting a certain amount of your choice from it. Tie or tape the ends together to form a circle. Use another piece of string, a different color preferably, find the diameter, and use the string to measure how many surround the circle. Bringing us back, this shows how pi is used to measure the circumference. But is it used in area too? It sure is. The formula is pi times radius squared, pi r squared. But how do we get that? Here it shows a circle alternating with blue and purple triangles. Now imagine lining these triangles to form a rectangle. The length is the circumference, but half of it, since the other half is on the other side. If the circumference is pi d, then half of that would be pi r. So length is pi r, and the width is just radius, half the diameter. So that is pi radius times radius, pi radius squared. So that is how you find the area. Now you sort of know the meaning between pi and circles, but why is pi called pi? Pi is called pi because of the Greek alphabet. The 16th letter of the Greek alphabet, written for P, comes from the word perimeter or periphery. Periphery means the outer edges of an area. The lowercase version is this picture that is shown on the screen. A horizontal line with two vertical lines that sort of curl at the end. So is there a relationship between pi, the number, and pie, the dessert? No, it is completely a coincidence for it to sound like the dessert. But you might realize that a pie is a circular object, and circles do have something to do with pi. But that is also merely a coincidence. A bit more about pi? I've been calling pi throughout this video as pi, or as 3.14, or as 22/7, mainly because it is the shorthand version of pi. Pi is an irrational number, meaning it is infinite as we know it. Before I continue, I want to explain the difference between irrational and rational numbers, as this is helpful to know when referring to pi. Rational numbers are numbers that can be written as a ratio of two different integers. Integers are numbers with no fractional components, like natural numbers, zero, or negative numbers. Examples of rational numbers include fractions, improper fractions, mixed numbers, terminating decimals, repeating decimals, and percents. Irrational numbers are numbers that cannot be expressed as a ratio. These are numbers that do not have a repeating sequence and go on infinitely. For example, 0.3 repeating is 1/3. And since it repeats itself, that is not an irrational number. While pi, 3.14159,265, etc., has no repeating pattern. Therefore, it is an irrational number. Usually, there are pi contests to see who can recite the most digits of pi. Here are the first 25. 3.14159,265,35. 897,932,846,2643. But most people know popular songs to remember the first 100 digits, or 200 digits of pi. The thing about pi is that it doesn't repeat like 1/6, which is 1.66666 repeating, nor is it like 1/4, which is 0.25. There's no pattern to pi. We celebrate Pi Day more for who can recite the most digits of pi, and also to eat pie for dessert. So are you going to win the next pie contest? Lastly, the history of pi. There are over 300 trillion digits of pi that are found, and these were calculated by supercomputers. But even supercomputers can't find all the digits of pi. The ancient Babylonians first discovered pi when they realized that a wheel spins around 3 times its diameter and a little more, or the width, in one full rotation. Using a Babylonian tablet, scientists figured out that the Babylonians found an interesting approach to calculating the circumference. They compared the circumference to a hexagon. Imagine this, a hexagon fitted inside a circle. Obviously, the circle's edge is longer than the hexagon's, so they calculated this formula. The circle's edge is 1.04 times the hexagon's edge total. The Babylonians used this to estimate pi as 3.125. But it's definitely not the same as 3.141, etc. That is when Archimedes, a mathematician from ancient Greece, thinks of something very clever. He put in and surrounded special shapes with several lines inside and out of the circle. Here is a demonstration that I drew. As Archimedes did this, he found pi 3.14 continued. So here comes William Jones in 1706 AD, a Welsh mathematician. He actually named pi. He used the P in the Greek alphabet originating from the word periphery, the outer edge of a shape. Whoa. So in this video, we learned a lot. The history of how pi is used, what is pi, and more. But I just want to state a few more things you might find pi in. First, pi is found in most things that are curved or rounded. First, geometry and building. Pi is found in circles and geometry using specific mathematical formulas, but is also found in construction. In order to construct 3D shapes like large circular containers, one must use pi to calculate the dimensions. Next, science and physics. Pi is the fundamental property of ocean waves and radio waves that phones transmit. Pi is also found in statistics and probability, known for making sure all outcomes are 1. Third, architecture. Any curved buildings or surfaces require pi to find the dimensions and calculations, extremely important for modern designs that have curved faces with natural light and flow. Now, as I end off this episode, I want to end with a pi quote that really sticks about what really is math. An anonymous person said this: "Pi is a number that will always remain an enigma. That's the essence of math, its infinite mysteries." This really sticks with me to show how mysterious and puzzling pi is, but how it is just like math, the infinite amount of mysteries we have yet to discover. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you learned something about pi. See you in my next video.